Yeah, I'm going to be cautious with my words because very discouraged. I think everybody here is confused. Um, there's there's so much to unpack on this deal. It just doesn't make sense. And I think first off, like we got to kind of look back here and put this into perspective. People want to make this a simple thing, and it's not simple. We a couple 4 years ago, an organization decided to just open the floodgates, NIL, immediate transfers anytime you want, and the floodgates just come flying open. The toothpaste comes out of the tube, and everybody in college athletics, there's an organizing body, the NCAA, that allowed that to happen, whether they were forced because they didn't, over a long period of time, address necessary changes that should have happened. But the body that was governing college athletics, that was in charge, let the toothpaste out of the tube. And there's a lot of reasons. That's a whole conversation in itself. And now people are going, we got to put the toothpaste back in the tube and restrict some of this in some possible way. So we decided that we wanted to restrict transfers. That's fine. I think most people support that. Most coaches support that. I have no issue with that. If we're going to restrict transfers, let's make it very clear. So we decide that we're going to restrict transfers. And we come out with a set of guidelines. And we say that there are 3 types of waivers that are ways that you can transfer a second time. That same organization, the NCAA, that we got in, that was overseeing us when the toothpaste came out of the tube, came out and created a situation now in a process where there's waivers. I think it's a really, really good question that I wish people in the media would start asking. Why are there waivers? Why do we have them? I'm curious to answer that question. It'd be a lot clearer if they just came out and said there are no 2-time transfers, no exceptions. I've actually heard that the people in the room making the decision didn't want waivers. So somebody needs to figure out why we have them. But if we're going to create waivers and we're going to create guidelines for a process, and kids and universities and coaches and teams are going to make decisions based on those guidelines, then we have to follow through on them. Because right now, I'm trying to understand the purpose of Aziz and Jamil not playing. And the only thing that I can make sense of is the NCAA doesn't want to have mental health waivers. So they're going to deny all of them so that now nobody will try this again. If we don't want waivers, we shouldn't have waivers. And that, in my opinion, is totally wrong and unfair. It's unfair. It's wrong. Because I'd love to have some restrictions on transfers. I'd love that. That'd be great. Okay, that would help college basketball, in my opinion. But, and let me make this very, very clear, I'm not okay with using my guys as examples for the next people that are transferring. I'm not okay with sacrificing our kids. And I do believe that's what's happening. We're sacrificing this round of kids for the future. And that is wrong. It is wrong. It isn't about whether we should or shouldn't have second-time transfers. It's about we have a process, we have guidelines, people make life decisions based on those guidelines, and now they are confused. And let's think, in their time in college athletics, they've been allowed to transfer whenever they want. Who allowed that? And now they're told, well, you can transfer, but you got to meet these guidelines. Well, I meet those guidelines. Not just I think I do. I've consulted with a lawyer. I've looked into it. And now to go into the season, not hear anything. It's confusing. I don't think people understand personally, when you interact with the kids every day, I don't think people understand that are making decisions. They're human beings that are being affected and there's a lot of dynamics that are at play here, obviously, that I hope somebody will try to figure out. But there are kids that are being sacrificed for this, that you actually have to come in and deal with them and deal with the things that they're obviously going through stuff to be in this predicament anyway. Now it's like 3 or 4 times harder. And it is like totally unfair and discouraging. And we are gonna, we appealed for Aziz, and they denied it. I think they said that he checked every box, but they couldn't figure out why Cincinnati. Like, why does that make sense? Well, guys, he's from Senegal. He can't go back to Senegal, go to college. He played his first year at Akron in the state of Ohio. His American family, and there's a lot that goes into that he doesn't want talked about publicly, is within a driving radius of this campus. Why Cincinnati? Where is he supposed to go? That's the only feedback that we got. They said, oh, everything else checked out. But it doesn't make sense why he would have to go to Cincinnati. I mean, his coach at Utah Valley last year got the Cal job. The majority of his teammates transferred, and they're having success playing other places. His whole support network gone. And then he's told he can do this, that he meets the standards, so he makes a decision to leave. This is the place that's closest to his support system. He can't go to Senegal to play college basketball. And they're saying, why Cincinnati? It doesn't make sense to us. It feels unfair, unjust. It ain't right. And I can tell you this. We're going to stand by him. Like, we're going to support him. We're going to petition the NCAA to reconsider this thing on Monday. And I wish they would. There's a human element here. And I'd say this finally, and I could go on I know way more about this than I ever cared to know. But guys, they came out 2 weeks ago and said this process ain't right. They made a statement. It's not right. It's messed up. We're going to change it next year. But there's human beings that are being affected. Change it now. My gosh, change it now. I mean, it is ridiculous. So I just wish they would for 1 second go, what are Aziz and Jamil going through? What did they do? And this is the last point I'll make. It is really important for all of us in our lives to have accountability when we make mistakes. That's an important lesson that we all have to learn. And when we make mistakes, we have to be accountable. And that's what a governing body is there to do. They have to hold people accountable. And I appreciate that. We have laws in this country. If you break them, you should be held accountable. Like, that's a great lesson for kids. If our kids are late, we hold them accountable. It's a great lesson. Okay? What have Aziz and Jamil done wrong? What are we holding them accountable for? What did they do? They haven't done anything. Are we holding them accountable to make a broader point of trying to put toothpaste back in a tube for college athletics? That's not fair to them. How do they have any? It's taken me months and months to figure this whole process out. I'm 40 years old, professional. I've been in college athletics for almost 20 years. Over the last month, I'm finally starting to piece some stuff together. How the heck are student athletes last spring supposed to put this together? They put out one piece of paper. That's what we all went off of, including these kids. What are we holding them accountable for? If they broke a rule, if they made a mistake, then they shouldn't be allowed to play. I support that. But they haven't done anything wrong. This is wrong. And I believe John Cunningham and our President Pinto, I believe those guys and this community and these fans, I think are going to stand by these kids and support them. Because I think anybody that really looks at this goes, this isn't fair to young people. And you're dang right, it ain't fair to our team. It ain't fair to our coaching staff. It ain't fair to our fans. But let's start with them first. They're people. They're human beings. And I just, please, NCAA, whoever that is, whoever's over there, I don't even know what that means. They don't communicate like that with us. But whoever's over there, look at it as they're human beings. They're not examples for the next crop of people that decide to transfer. And I think if they look at it like that and go by the guidelines they set out in the spring, I believe those two be on the court tomorrow. So I wish we'd start asking the questions, why do we even have waivers? And what were the guidelines for those waivers? And why wouldn't we just clear the people that meet them? And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.